Hello everyone, welcome to General Orlando 327 plays Final Fantasy XIII, episode 37. So we are just about done with chapter 12. We probably have about one episode left, give or take. Might not even be that much. So we will get into chapter... We'll at least get to chapter 13 today. I don't know how far into it we'll get, which will be the last chapter of the game. Of the story, anyway. Don't miss that treasure sphere back there for another weapon for Vanille that we'll never use, but saves you having to buy it. Alright. We are in close to the core of Eden. Oh yeah, we have less left in this chapter than I thought we did. Yeah, we'll definitely finish this chapter. We'll get into chapter 13
so
today.
This is the heart of Cocoon.
It's incredible.
Whoa. That's where Eden sits, controlling all of the other Cocoon Fal'Cie. It's also where we'll find Orphan, the battery that keeps Eden running.
Good to know. So what's the plan?
Your usual plan. Charge in through the front door, what else?
Right, the front. Hey, what do you...
I mean, you've gotten this far.
What is wrong?
What else are they gonna throw at you? Oh no. Humans with guns. And behemoths. They're weaker than the ones that we were just fighting two at a time. Oh no, juggernauts. And tyrants.
I hope that's our backup.
Well, if it is, I don't think our backup is happy to see us.
So you're stuck between a tyrant and a juggernaut, and the only way to actually go forward is the juggernaut, but whatever. You don't fight them both at the same time, although at this point with our development that might actually be a fun proposition, but don't have that option, unfortunately. I knew that got in here for a reason. I need this.
As we're fighting.
Because we're going to fight the... Wait. No. Oh. Huh? Okay, fine. Yeah, because we're not going to get a preemptive strike, so we want bar fire and protect on. I mean, I could just use, try to get fog on,
Thank you.
Protect, please. There we go. That's what I wanted. And then we can go to Relentless Assault. Let's finish off the blade in a hurry. Faster we finish the blade. The last pulse fire we have to deal with. Just make sure to switch to diversity to heal up with fangs getting low. Because pulse fire does do a fair amount of damage. Combined with the attacks that the blade does itself. Alright, then we can do Spark Bomb. Like we normally would. Could use Relentless Assault to drive up the chain gauge enough before you switch to Smart Bomb once it's in stagger, but it doesn't really matter. You're not saving that much time by getting it staggered first. And once the blade is gone, it's a pushover anyway, if you can stop it from producing another one. Alright, nothing else behind us, but, you know, just for the sake of fighting that battle. We're going to stay in Strike Team. We're going to have basically the same approach. Bar fire. I did not realize that there was a... I don't need Protect. But it actually isn't a bad idea to cast it, because that way you will be more likely to still have the debuffs on the Juggernaut by the time you stagger it. It raises the chain gauge just enough to almost make it worth doing, hopefully. Unless something goes horribly wrong, like debuffs just don't want to stick. And don't forget, once your debuff sticks that you're casting, you can hit circles to stop wasting attacks. So hopefully we'll get it. That even before it finishes the steam thing. Nope, it's gonna finish first. Okay, Sarah. I probably should be crashing, but whatever. At this point, who cares? Since we're manually controlling Fang, you can use, well, not this fight. This fight doesn't matter. What is going on right now? Why is Hope like dead? I don't understand what's happening. Took my eyes off the screen for a second and all of a sudden Hope's almost dead. Not that it really would have mattered, I don't know why I bothered to heal him, but whatever. So there's two ways you can go into this fight. If you do it the way I'm doing it right now, you can stick with set A because then you can manually do Dispel. For whatever reason, if you don't control Fang in this fight, she doesn't cast Dispel right off. So you can do it that way, but then you're still not directing the team very well, so you're actually probably better switching back to the way we had it going in, and then using set B only to cast Protect because of the fact that the Fang's not going to use the spell right away when we switch to the and actually Vigilance, not Shell, Vigilance. You don't have Vigilance? Huh. I didn't realize that. Well, obviously I would not have done it that way. Would have already been switched over, but whatever. See, this is why I hate these things. They're annoying. They're not tough, they're just annoying. Yeah, I think doing it the other way probably would have been better off. See, so for whatever reason she casts Slow before she casts Dispel, which is silly because if she casts Dispel, they would automatically not have haste anymore. So then she has to cast Slow 2 turns in a row to get Slow to actually stick, and then she starts casting Dispel.
That's how it's done.
Again, one of those programming like glitches that, I mean, not a glitch, they programmed it that way, but I don't know why. Alright, so we're going to do the same thing here. And this time we know we don't have Vigilance, so I don't have to waste time doing that. Or trying to do that. So just Protect. 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 And into Smart Bomb. And she starts casting Slow anyway, so why wouldn't she? And then the Archangels cast Asuna, so then she has to go back to casting Slow. And this is why I don't like most games where you can't control your party members. It's actually why I'm having such a hard time with Persona 3 FES.
No problem.
I'm not sure how far out I have that series right now. This is probably not going to be relevant by the time you watch this, but I am planning on switching from Persona 3 FES to playing Persona 3 on my PS TV that I now have, because of the fact that the PS TV version, the version that was released for Vita, actually has the capability to allow you to control your other party members. So I'm probably going to start that game over, or I am going to start that game over. I just haven't decided whether I actually want to start that game over or if I want to do Persona 4 Golden.
Friendly reminder, we're running on borrowed time.
The reason I started with Persona 3 FES was because I didn't have my PlayStation TV when I started, and obviously I don't have a Vita. Well, I guess it's not entirely obvious, but I didn't have a way to get Persona 4 Golden until I got my PlayStation TV. So now I can actually stream Persona 4 Golden, hopefully. I actually haven't tried to work out the technical details of using PS TV with my capture card. That would be interesting. I hadn't actually thought about that. Guess we'll find out. Or we will have found out by the time you watch this, I suppose. Alright, so now we get another new set of baddies. Wait a minute. Did we just skip a cutscene? Did I just skip a cutscene? No, I think that's still coming up. If I skipped a cutscene, I am really sorry. I might have. Okay, now I gotta know if I skipped that cutscene because you probably want to see that particular cutscene. Oh, of course I can't go back and look while I'm recording. Duh. Alright, well. Onward forward. If I skipped a cutscene, I'm sorry. Did not mean to. Alright, you can use Libra in this fight if you want to, but you don't need to. Oh, and by the way, you may as well switch back to having Fang in the lead because we will not need set B for quite a while. In fact, I don't think we will need set B again until partway through chapter 14, or 13. If even then. Not even sure you need it at that point. Like I said, you don't need Libra for this. They are not immune to anything, including status effects, except death. I think they are immune to death. By the way, they do also cast death. They are the only enemy that I am aware of in the game that's not a boss that casts death. Yeah, they love to inflict status ailments on you and then cast death. It doesn't happen very often, but it will happen. They are not immune to death. They are only immune to days? No, they're immune to death. We just haven't discovered that yet. Besides, why would you want to waste time casting Vanille here, of all places? Oh, actually, you know, I should switch my leader to lightning is what I should do. Oh yeah, they just cast death. Yeah, I really ought to switch my party leader to lightning. Just so I don't have to worry about manual targeting with Fang. And we just don't need Hope to be a party leader. So, yeah, I'm gonna do that. Sorry. That's twice in this recording session, not like this episode, but this is the third episode in a row that I've recorded, and that's twice that my phone has gone off. I don't usually get calls. In fact, I don't ever get calls. I wish I would get some more calls, like for jobs, but all I get are spam calls. That's what I was gonna do. Swapping parties. Or people. And stuff. Alright. This way I don't have to worry so much about who I'm attacking. Alright, so we're gonna three-way battle here. I like the fact that their idea of attacking each other is just running into each other, apparently. But whatever. Alright, so we're gonna kill one of the sacrifices here. And we're gonna switch to the Vernal Harvester. It is actually possible for them to, for the sacrifice to kill, one of the sacrifices to kill the Vernal Harvester with a death spell. It has been done. Which actually just makes the battle even shorter, but... Hey look! The Proudclad is back! Kill this one. Carve our way to Roush again. And it looks like time has not been very kind to the Proudclad. I mean, we may have started it, but we didn't do all of that. Alright. Question is, do I want to switch Hope back to my party leader? Because I will want to use his... I will likely want to use his buff abilities, but I think it will do it automatically, the ones that I want. So yeah, it will. It'll do them automatically. So we are just gonna toss our usual boss shrouds, just to make things easy on ourselves. Question: do I want to do a what if you don't look my way? I guess if I do, I'm going to have to do it from all the way back there because there's no save point. Alright, well, I guess it's not really relevant because I already have the save file. I was just debating whether this is a fight that's worth doing a what if you don't like my way episode.
Looks like no one was spared.
He really wants us dead.
If I must die, don't be
do the usual, Libra. The early part of this fight, he doesn't have too much in the way of dangerous attacks. He staggers very easily. We want to run the change gauge up to about 700. And then hope for a couple of solid scourges. We will not kill him in one stagger period. And as usual, he's immune to all of the status ailments. And has magic or elemental pain. Then we want aggression. Hopefully we will get our scourges out of the deal. Maybe. I missed time to that. Smite, I guess we don't have scourge yet. Alright. Now, back to Relentless Assault, and he's in his nastier form. Still not immune to Chief Deputy Shell anymore. Ow. Might want to actually be using... And now he switches from aerial to
Careful now.
two-handed. Much more difficult to stagger this way. And he's charging his super ultimate cool move that, but, you know, as long as we keep our buffs up and our health up. Once he charges up to like 90% or whatever the one before his actual attack is, if we don't have him staggered, which we will. If we don't have him staggered, we can just toss a renew, and then we this way he won't be charging anymore, but he doesn't launch in this form. So, that's the downside of him flying. Just watch our health a little bit, because he could accidentally kill us if things don't go well. Alright, I'm gonna switch to aggression. And I'm going to use a renew before we go all out to try to get a smite attack on him. Probably get timed again, but it might not matter. No, we got it. Didn't even need our smite attacks. And then we get Eden Pharmaceuticals, which is the big prize of this fight, although the Royal Armlet is very nice too. The big prize of that fight is Eden Pharmaceuticals. I'll show you why in just one moment.
Rush, it's over.
This is actually another one of my favorite cutscenes in the game.
I see. Why are you doing this, Rush? I mean, haven't you done enough?
Enough. Under Foul Sea orders, I've orchestrated mass murder. All to answer the fears of a panicked populace. For a people utterly dependent on the Foul Sea. It was the only solution I could offer. Even if that solution was a farce.
Then, you knew the Foul Sea were using us?
I believed their rule was best for Cocoon's present and future prosperity. But it seems I misjudged their benevolence. If this is my punishment, I accept it.
So, you're just gonna let everything go to hell, is that it?
You're right. One thing remains. This is SciComm Director Roche. Attention all SciComm and Guardian Corps units. Suspend the sea operations. I repeat, suspend the sea operations. All units should focus their efforts on evacuating the civilian population. I do not issue this order as an absolute. You are free to make the choice.
Ross!
Go. You're here to save Cocoon, aren't you? Or was that a farce as well?
Stay alive. We'll see you when it's over.
I'll trust in your humanity. Let's see. The fate of Cocoon is in your hands. This is my end. The end which I have chosen.
Fitting in for one of the most honorable nemesis in all of the Final Fantasy franchise. Like I said, I feel like Roush is a very underappreciated character. I mean, you know, you only see him 5 or 6 times, and every time he's clearly an antagonist, but he also has hints of knowing what's really going on, and yet believing that the course that he's taking is the best for the people. It's the kind of honor that you find in, you know, a lot of the misunderstood villains of gaming and movies. It doesn't make their actions any better, which is the point of a lot of things. They don't necessarily drive that point home here as much. They kind of, unless you're really listening to what he's saying, he just seems like the typical scumbag who knows that he's hurting people because it's, you know, because it's what he's been commanded to do. But I actually want to do a video that takes the tidbits that you get from him, both the good and the bad, and puts them in context with who this guy actually is, because we know very little about him, but we know that he has convictions that he adheres to a fault, and that's really the reason that he's pitted against these heroes that otherwise he would most likely have sided with. So it's a very interesting, I think he's one of the most underrated characters in the Final Fantasy franchise, for a variety of reasons, partially because, you know, he's just people who aren't paying attention to the story, which unfortunately is a lot of the Final Fantasy XIII naysayers. They just, you know, you just see him as a villain, and he's just another villain in a bad game in the franchise. And I disagree with both of those premises. Alright. Right. Before we go down there, let me show you what we got here. So the cutscene that I think I accidentally skipped, and I really wish I hadn't, was a bunch of soldiers being transformed into those sacrifices. Basically, Bartandalus just takes them all over and says, "Nope, you're Seath now." It's kind of I wouldn't say it's an important cutscene, but it's an enlightening cutscene, and I wish I hadn't accidentally skipped it. Alright. So we just unlocked Eden Pharmaceuticals, and the reason that that's the real prize is because now we have access to all four of the all three shrouds plus liver scope, but we don't have, the only one we don't get is Ethersols. But those are the ones that hopefully we won't have to use as much anyway. But now we can buy any of the Fortisol and Aegisol. Yeah, they're not cheap, but we really don't need Deceptisols. But and we're pretty soon going to be able to farm for these anyway. But at this stage in the game, it's very useful to have put this here instead of a little bit further on, because you might want to have more Fortisols and Aegisols by this point in the game if you didn't farm for them early on, especially if you're only at an average progression for Mysterium development and not like way ahead like that. We are going to want a few Libroscopes in the next chapter, because, and we are now on to the next chapter. Let me save this in 11. Do I have an 11? No. Alright, new save file. Cool. Alright. So we are going to want some of the Libroscopes in Chapter 13, just because it makes a few battles easier than having to cast Libera on multiple things, and just speeds things along. And since we can buy them now, there's no harm in using them. And it saves on TP, which is the other reason that it's rather useful, since we can't buy Ethersols. So if you'll notice, our Crystarium, our CP, is getting close to its maximum, relatively speaking, because of the growth egg that we have equipped. We are actually going to start developing all of the non primary, the secondary roles for everybody. My brain was not coming up with the word I wanted there. We are into Orphan's Cradle. And this leads us to an area that we will see again in Final Fantasy XIII 3 Lightning Returns.
If they made it this far, we'll see him soon enough.
Hey look, there's the cavalry.
Not them two. They're all Seath.
And this is the area that is rather annoying, and is repeated in... Actually, you be here in... sort of be here in the end of 13-2 as well. I forgot about that. It's not technically the one here, because this is the one. This is Orphan's Cradle.
A lot of dreams
There's
died
a
to
separate
get us here.
variation
Can't let it
of
be for
this
nothing.
same space.
It's not just our future we're fighting for.
We'll do it for everyone. Fal'Cie rule ends here.
Daisley, we're coming for you!
As you can see, that the whole area just got a little crazy. That's because this is the Tesseracts. And for those of you who are not familiar with fourth dimension math, Tesseract is the extension of a cube into the fourth dimension. So you have a square, becomes you have a dot, becomes a line, becomes a square. When you're talking about quadrilaterals, becomes a cube, becomes a tesseract. So basically, a tesseract, in theory, would be something that extends to whatever the fourth dimension is. Some people say it's time. I don't think that follows logically, mathematically, or scientifically from evidence. And for those of you who want to quote Einstein to me, forget it. Don't waste your time. Because Einstein was fundamentally flawed when he assumed the constant speed of light.
Try this on the side. You're gonna
The only thing here, these enemies, even if you're very under-leveled, the only thing here that's really gonna be dangerous to you is if they happen to stick death on your party leader. That's really it. Honestly, even if Hope dies right now, I don't care. I mean, it'll slow things down a little, but that's about it. Especially once, because Fang can inflict pain and fog on these, and then it's just over anyway. And again, fog is really the only one you care about, because if you get fog on them, they can't be casting death. They can't cast death, then they can't kill you. I mean, they can. Poison, obviously, will do a fair amount of damage. And with pain on there, they don't do physical attacks all that much anyway, but even if they did, with pain, they're toast. So Hope was in the critical for most of that battle, and it didn't matter. And these two fights, regardless of your level, well, no, if you're low leveled. If you're low to moderately leveled, these are good fights to grind. Because they drop one of two things, if they drop anything. Scarletite and Perfume. Scarletite we're going to need, and whatever excess we get we will be able to sell soon enough, whereas Perfumes are just for sale, which we're going to need as much money as we can get. So, and they give you a decent amount of experience for a relatively low amount of risk. Alright, I really ought to switch to... just to deal with these status effects. Although I could use Dispelga. This is one of those cases where Dispelga would actually be useful for me. I mean, yes, it would get rid of my debuffs as well, but it will clear off it'll get rid of what I have left of my buffs as well, but it will also take care of the debuffs. Fang died. That's actually a problem. But, you know, Hope died. But that's what I have Renew for. me. Oh, it's got fog. It's over. Wondered why I wasn't seeing any more attacks. There we go. That actually took me way longer than it needed to. So yeah, all you have to do to respawn these enemies is, let's see. I think you just go forward here a little bit. We're gonna get this cutscene. Yeah. So all we have to do is hop up onto this path and then hop back down, and it'll respawn those two battles in an infinite amount of time. So if you're not developed through your entire Crystarium for at least for the primary roles, I would highly recommend that you don't pass by this point without just grinding at those two sacrifice battles until you get enough CP to do that.
That looks like a
And preferably get built up to a fair amount a fair amount of CP built up as well, because you're going to need a lot of it in the near future, after this chapter, when we get our last Crystarium tier.
If we're gonna run away, now's our chance.
So, guys, which way we going?
Wait, what? Oh yeah, no map. There it is. Okay, good. Yeah, so all we have to do is
Just follow your instincts.
backtrack back down here. Hop back down. Hop back down. That was supposed to respawn the... Oh, maybe I went... Oh, I went the wrong direction. That's why. I forgot that there's another path over here. Oh yeah, that spawned first path. Okay, I'm losing my mind. So we need to move forward from where we were. There are two portals at either side that I will get to later. We're gonna come back here anyway. But if we go back over here, why is this not respawning? But maybe it's over here. One of these respawns the sacrifices. Don't want to go that way yet. Maybe we have to do the other thing first then. I know you can respawn these. It's not that way. Well, you can always take the portal ahead. Of course, that's going to take you all the way back to the beginning of Eden Hall. So the portal this way takes you back to Grand Pulse. Portal that way takes you back to Eden. portal this way is where we need to end up. And I don't know why these aren't respawning. I know you can respawn them. Maybe you just can't respawn them yet. Alright. We're going to go away from the destination mark first, because of course we are. Oh, you know what? That's why that didn't go well the last battle. I was in the wrong paradigm. I wasn't casting debuffs. I was like, why is this going so poorly? Yep, that was good. That was why. Because the debuffs are what make this easy peasy. Alright, well that's all we need to finish this, because once you get fog on it, you don't really need anything else. Okay, seriously, with all of the calls. Good grief. Who's calling me? I know they're spam calls, but... Alright, so... Coming up here, there's a fight that I don't like. That one. So it is possible to stand on this step. To get a preemptive strike on this thing. Yeah, okay, let's go on. You just have to time everything perfectly. Which I didn't do. Oh, that step. That's one. Back up. Back up. Back. Go back. Okay, you can actually just stand on the bottom here. Just don't move forward. Okay, this should actually be at the far end of this. And then, I had the camera angle facing the right direction. It's not easy to do, but you can get a preemptive strike on this. Come on. Here it goes. There we go. That's it. And then take advantage of it. We definitely want to actually better off costing a liver scope here, because you don't want to fight these if you don't have to. They are bad. I want to get pain. I probably don't need to get pain on it, but and then aggression it into oblivion. With the stagger, I really didn't need fog and pain, but there we go. Isn't there supposed to be? Oh no, okay. That's the next one. Alright, now we either have to fight one fair and square, or we have to use a Deceptive Soul. We're gonna fight one fair and square. At least as fair and square as casting debuffs with a Saboteur can get. So it starts out being very difficult to stagger, but it does take the debuffs pretty well. The only one that it doesn't take is Curse. Now, once it starts using Plasma Cannon, then it staggers very quickly. And we already saw how easy it is to kill once it's staggered. If we can get Pain to stick on it, since we're not going to get launched. I mean, we could just use juggling tactics. There we go. And then we finish it. There we go. Now, if you have not taken my advice and finished this Crystarium tier, that is not an easy fight. You will almost definitely want to use a Septisol. And to be honest, you don't even need to fight it because all you get out of that is a Liver Scope. So just evade it. Unless you're a diehard that has to fight every fight once. And exactly once. Alright, now, this is the same thing that we saw. This is the exact... No, it isn't. This is an upgrade of the one that Saz and Vanille fought way back in chapter 8. Yeah, 8. When they fought the Midnight Thresher after seeing Dodge turn to... Was it before seeing Dodge turn to Crystal? No, it's before seeing Dodge turn into Crystal, because it's that and then the scene with Dodge and then the Brynhildr Eidolon fight. So we already know these things are nasty. And in fact, it's probably one of the top 2 hardest things in this chapter. And we definitely need to start watching our CP here because because this is where I capped out one of the times I played through. So I think I fought less than in that playthrough. I know I was having a lot of hard time getting the tetratic gear that playthrough. So again, the advantage to not having Hope as our party leader right now is, besides the a little bit less squishy, I actually should have bought some Liver Scopes for the looks of things. Oops. Is that he will start casting Protection, or not gonna cast Protection Shell. Cool. Might need to redo this.
Thank you.
Because he will start casting Protection Shell while we're casting Libra, which obviously didn't happen, so ignore that. See, this is what happens when I try to do things differently than normal. But once we get Protecting Shell, then we might want to heal just because I don't want Lightning to get flattened. Which would have happened if I hadn't switched to healing. See? Like I said, these things are nasty. If you're not paying attention, you're going to be in trouble. And then we can just use set A like normal. I'm really surprised that Hope doesn't have vigilance. I actually didn't realize that. I mean, you know, that's how often I use it, but whatever. Just make sure to switch to healing paradigms as often as you need to, because you will need to. I could switch to back to that B just to get some get haste back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got all of our debuffs that we're going to get on him because days, I don't care. So we are going to switch back to this just long enough to get haste back on everybody before we go full on into defeating this thing. I mean, we could have done it without doing that, but... There we go. Where are we at for time? Okay. We've still got a lot of dungeon to cover. I think I'm going to continue this episode until we get to the boss. To the final boss sequence. We need that Sheriff's Crown, so you do want to fight that thing. I guess you could buy it, but save as much money as you can. And you want the Millerite out of that one, so... Alright, so that's the whole reason we came this way. Now we get to go back. Alright, so where am I at for CP cap? Oh, we got a ways yet. We're okay. I must have had to grind a lot in that playthrough. Or I just got distracted when I was doing normal grinding, which happens as well. Because normally when I'm just sitting to grind... yeah, we won't get to the final boss because I'm going to have to be grinding for a couple hours before then. To finish off our secondary roles. So we'll get to that point. Which is basically right before the final boss, but... to the best CP farming area in the game. And then I'll call it quits. Alright, so now these have respawned. We're not going to bother fighting them again, we don't need to. What I do need to do is buy some liver scopes. I'm trying to think of how much I have before I reach that point. I just don't want to do a partial episode when we get to... Yeah, there's a lot left. I am going to end this episode here. I know there's a lot to the Tesseracts. I just can't remember how quickly I can speed through it with the levels that we're at. I'm not in the right thing. I need our Eden Pharmaceuticals. Thank you. I need a bunch of these. Probably 5 or 6. Let's go for 6. I should still be set on those. We don't have very many bosses that need them. And we have some save points in between, so I'm going to stick with that. I definitely don't really need the Deceptive Souls. We can start selling off perfumes are all for sale. So the choice that we had earlier with the Adamantoids fight that we did, so that we didn't have to make the choice, we got 5 particle accelerators. Did we get 5 or 3? 6 particle accelerators. We got 6 particle accelerators out of it, or we could have gotten the plus chocobo. The plus chocobo is its only purpose is for the 35,000 gil that you will get from selling it. However, if you go to R&D Depot, where you can buy particle accelerators, the value of those particle accelerators that you will want to purchase in post-story at some point anyway is 60,000 gil. So that's why I say take that one instead of bothering with the plush chocobo if you can't be bothered to kill the Adamantoids, which I highly recommend doing anyway. Back to this. Sell off plush chocobo. Sell off the platinum ingot that we got from killing the... So the Adamantoids drops platinum ingot as its rare drop, and gold nugget as its moderately rare drop. They don't really have common drops. So either way, you're getting money out of that if you get to drop it all. Don't sell the particle accelerators. Even though they say they're only 5,000 piece, that will net loss you of 5,000 each one that you sell, basically. I don't think we need the perfect conductors anymore. I think we're going to be past the point where that matters. I'm just trying to think of any... There might be some accessories that we use them on. You can sell the bomb ashes and the bomb fragments. Actually, hang on to the fragments a little while longer. Again, I don't think we need them for anything. Bomb shells and bomb cores are still going to be useful to us. Oh, incentive chips. I probably had those earlier and didn't see them in the list. Because I can't imagine I picked up 11 of them. Scarletite is getting to the point where you can sell it. But I'm not sure how many more we need, so hang on to it for now. Alright, so that's going to be the end of this episode. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you guys the next time. Go ahead and save over this one because that was mid-episode. I'll see you guys all the next time. Everybody have a great day.